So I think I have a system down for the siding, putting it on here. Alright, so you cut them all the same length on your miter saw. I might do a video on that, I don't know. But this is how I'm putting it on. Okay, so I got the first piece. There's a lot of bird again. Got the first piece on there on the bottom. That's going to be the only flat spot. Really, bird? We'll just ignore him. So the only flat spot is going to be this bottom one. And I'll have to hide that bottom lip a little better. I might cut just a thin strip and put it on there to hide it. Make it level and even with itself. We'll fix it, okay? We're not really worried about these edges. We're going to try and get them as close as we can. It's best to have overhang over here because you can sand it all flat. But you can put molding around the outside to hide that kind of stuff. So get it as straight as you can. But, you know, don't worry about it. So this bottom one, that's the most important, that you have that straight. I know that these panels were at least mostly straight. If not, you know, we can fudge with it and fix it up. So how I got a nice straight line, I used my speed square. Take your speed square, throw the lip over the side. Okay, and obviously not here. It's not your starting point, but this is how it works. You throw your speed square over the side, that goes across nice and straight, perpendicular, and then use your carpenter's pencil and draw a line across. So that's going to be how you do the first one. Draw the line across, line it up, stick your gun on there, and pull. Boom. Put a nail in it and hold it on. I'm using really small nails. I guess I should have pulled those out to show you guys. They're somewhere. I don't know. They're 23 gauge. Oh, they're over here. I put them inside. 23 gauge. I don't use the Harbor Freight ones. Don't buy the Harbor Freight ones. I don't trust them. They'll most likely break your gun. I saw a video where a contractor, I guess, got his gun stolen, and he bought Harbor Freight nails, and it broke the whole gun. So I use these Hitachi ones. They're available at Lowe's. These are 23 gauge. I'm using, I think these are the smallest ones they make, the shortest ones. Little 1/2 inch, 23 gauge by 1/2 inch, 13 millimeter for metric types. So yeah, that's what I use. They're very, very thin nails. You can barely see the holes where they go in. I mean, yes, you can see them because it's a different color. But what we're going to do when we're all done putting the siding on is paint it up. Alright? So you're not going to see that. Oh, talking about painting and prepping. Before you put these on here, you're going to want to sand them. Alright? You're going to have little girls playing with these. Okay? We don't want little children getting splinters in their fingers and crying to daddy. You know, it's not going to kill them, but crying is never good. Nobody likes that, and I'm sure you're out trying to do something, working hard. You don't need to be bothered every 5 minutes because your kid has a splinter. So the easiest way to do that, before you cut it up, just sand the whole strip down and then cut it with the miter saw into the correct lengths. For that, I use my DeWalt sander, or random orbital sander. It's my most favorite sander ever so far. What else? Oh, so the next one, after you get the first one on, the bottom one, what do you do after that? Well, this is the system that I think I got down, and you know, I'll make a continuation or an update. I might just pause the video, do a bit more, and then make a conclusion if it works good. So what I did was I took one of these pieces that I had cut out, and I kind of had to set it up. I'll show you guys how I did this. So I kind of set it up like, you know, the way that it would go in there, nice and straight, and then basically push this up. Put that down there because there's one underneath and then the one on the top. So you line it up nice and straight. This is what it's going to look like from the side profile, about where you want it to be. Okay, so if this piece wasn't in here, that's how much it would overlap, and then get a best guesstimate, make a mark on there with your carpenter's pencil, and then draw it down. If these are nice and straight, you can draw it down. If not, use your combo square. Take that measurement and then use it to scribe all the way down. And then you're going to make one piece that is cut. Rip it with your table saw. Cut it down. Make a piece that isn't as wide. Okay, so that is where the one that overlaps is going to touch. So what you do with this piece, you take it and put it on the piece that you just did, right there, and then take your carpenter's pencil, scribe a line. It's kind of hard to do with two hands. I'm going to pause it, I'll draw the line, and I'll show you. Okay, there's the line, just drew it. Then you're going to take, up here, you're going to take your next one, all sand it up, put it on there, line it up with that line, and then shoot it. Nail it in place. You can line up one side and shoot it with one nail just so it holds on there, and then slightly adjust this to where you need it, and then shoot that side, and then put all the rest of the nails in. That's how I do it. Line up, one nail on each side, and then tack it down all the way across. I'm putting nails staggered between the top and the bottom, which means one here, one there, one there, one there. You can see how on this one they're staggered. That's what staggered means, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm putting ones across the top first. See, I put my one up there, and then I line this to the side, and I put one in there, and then put like one in the middle, one in between those, half split them, and then see where these are, put one down, one down, one down. So it's nailed to the house and the shingle below. This one you're going to want to anchor nice, very, very well, because it's the bottom. That's where you're going to see the most abuse. I could glue these too for extra support. I don't think they're really going to fall off. If one is nailed to the next one, is nailed to the next one all the way up, I don't think it's going to fall off. I think it'll be alright. If it does, that's a noted area of abuse, and might rip them off and just redo it. It's not really hard. If they're not glued on there, you can just stick a little pry bar in there and work it off and fix it. So it's not a big deal. Even if you screw up and you don't like it, yeah, it's gonna suck because it's all these tiny little pieces. You're gonna have to take them all off, but you can. That's why I'm not gluing it. If I mess it up, this is my first time building a dollhouse. Again, I'm doing this because there's not that much information out there. I'm learning as I go, and I'm sharing with you guys my experiences. So I'm gonna pause this and do some more shingles or siding. If it works out great, I'm gonna come back with a conclusion. I'm gonna say it worked great or it didn't work great. This is what I found. So here we go, I'm pausing it. Some more things I thought about as I'm doing this, and it's going pretty well. You just need to stop and make more cuts. Some tips, some pointers here. Take one of these, do yourself a favor, and throw it aside where you're not going to touch it. Because if you keep it with the rest of these, and you get on a roll, and you're listening to some good music, and you're just going to town nailing them on there, then you say to yourself, oh, I'm out, I need to go make more. Oh shit, I put it on there. So that's why you take one of them and throw it off to the side. A good idea is to put it right next to your miter saw where you're going to be cutting them. I've done that before, and then you have to either remeasure or rip it off, and it's no fun. Other tips, okay. I said you want to sand these so the little girls playing with the dollhouse don't get splinters. Another thing too, if you put it on there, if it's on there, you did this whole side, and then you realized, oh crap, I gotta sand that. Now that it's on there, this is not a flat surface. You can't get in there with a sander. You're gonna have to do it by hand, and you're not gonna do an adequate job. So it's easier to sand all four edges before you put it on there. It takes like a minute to do one of these pieces with a power sander. So yeah, definitely buy a power sander. They save all kinds of work. What else was I gonna say? Oh, cut your pieces together if you can. If you know you're gonna need a bunch of these in this length, don't cut them one at a time, one cut at a time. Stack them on top of each other, line them up correctly. I use one of these pieces, I'll stick it on top and line it up, and then I'll bring my saw down, you know, close to this, and then I'll slide them all together until it touches the saw, and then I'll lock them down with the saw and pull this piece away, hold it with my hand, and then make the cut. Like, sure it up, make sure everything is good right before I turn on the saw, and then make the cut. And it's gonna every time be exactly the same length, because you put the edge of the saw blade up to the edge of this piece. I might do a quick little demonstration of that. Okay, here's the demonstration. Let's say that this piece is all the way, it's long, it's a full-size piece, or whatever. This is the edge. These edges are matched. We'll say that these edges are matched. Okay, and I'm cutting off this little bit. So I'll shore them up to the fence together. Make sure the edges are lined up. Your fingers work well. Use your fingers, make it nice and flat there, nice and flat around. We know that this edge is straight because we cut it nice and straight, and we took the care to do that. So push it up against there. This is straight, and therefore this is straight. Look at where your saw is going to come down. Okay, I can already tell by looking at it the saw is probably going to hit, so I'll move it a little to the left. I'll bring the saw down. Looking at my blade, and you don't have to get at this angle, but you see what I'm saying. Okay, so once it's down there, I will push both of the pieces together because you have to keep them lined up. That edge at the end there has to be the same. Push them both together until the top piece meets the saw. Okay, once it hits the saw blade, you're good. And then lock it in place with the saw blade. Pull this piece back. Okay, you can even use this to hold it down nice and tight, nice and flat. Push it up against, lift it up, start your saw blade, make the cut. And every time you will get the exact same, as long as you do it correctly, every time you will get the exact same length of a piece. Nice and straight to match the one that's underneath. Another thing about that, you're going to find that you get extra pieces. Extra parts, my favorite. These are little scrap pieces, and you might think to yourself, oh, these are garbage, and start tossing them in the garbage. These are not garbage. You're going to do some crazy stuff, especially on the front with all this intricate little details that we're going to put on here because it's a Victorian house, and that's the way they did it back then. There are carpenters that were showing off, so we have to pretend to be carpenters that are showing off. You're going to need intricate little pieces, especially for a dollhouse. That's what these little scrap pieces are good for. If you have a bunch of these in your garage, consider making a dollhouse. It doesn't have to be this big. You can make a small 4-room dollhouse for your daughter, whoever. Save these. They're the right size for siding, and they're ready to go. If you sanded your big long strip, they're already sanded. You don't have to worry about it before you cut it. If you notice that there's any things on the ends after you cut it, sand up those if you really feel necessary. But the big hardest part is going to be these edges. So do that first. This is working. This is working very well. So I'm probably going to continue with this. This is a successful idea. Using this piece, put it on there, make the line, take it off, put your next piece on, line it up, shoot it, and keep going. Remember, always save one of these, throw it aside, and you'll be fine. Do what I said with the miter saw, you'll make some good cuts. It should all line up. If you notice it starts getting crooked, every once in a while, stand back because you're focusing in on it. You're going to have tunnel vision. Get up, stand back. If you smoke a cigarette, look at it. If you drink a beer. If you don't do those things, just take a break. A little life break. Take a rest, look at it, think about what you're doing. Analyze, how can I do it better? Does it look okay? What doesn't look okay? How can I fix it? Don't go too far so that you can make minor adjustments and work it all in. And it should look absolutely perfect when you're done. You're probably going to see the defects, but the other people are not, unless you tell them about it. So shh, don't tell anybody. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you have an outstanding day. I'm out.